And a jolly good afternoon to you from a quite warm, bright and sunny Tirana, Albania. I've just arrived. If you've watched part one of this two-part series of videos, part one is the journey from Luton to Tirana, and part back again later on today. You may well have already seen that would have been released about a week ago, and now this is the exploration of Tirana itself. Now I've got no idea which direction I'm going to go in. I'm just going to use Google Maps, have a little wander around, pick out some interesting kind of landmarks and head towards them. I've got approximately 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. There's a bus from here at about 6 o'clock, 1800. Given the amount of time it's taken to get in the city, I might, if I feel like it, just take the one earlier than that, just to be on the safe side, as I wouldn't want any dramas missing flights. I think it's unlikely even with the 6 o'clock, but we'll see how it goes. But anyway, I'm going to put my best foot forward now and head in a direction and have a look around this fine city here in Albania. First impressions, and they are very, very first impressions, of a city that is rapidly developing, lots of building work going on. Lots of things that in fact, I'm struggling to believe I'm actually stood in Albania, because as a child, Albania was one of those really mysterious places that it was more or less, well, I wouldn't say impossible to go to, but not many people went. Involved visas and some very strict behaviour, and I don't think there was an awful lot here that the average tourist would have been interested in. But of course, since the breakup of the Soviet Union and things changing very rapidly here in Albania, it's now free to enter. Interestingly, you just wander on in, not like going into a Schengen area country, having a queue up to get your passport stamped. My biometric passport, just opened the barriers and in I came. I was literally through the barriers and onto the bus within 15 minutes of walking off the aircraft, so it really was very, very quick. Traffic does seem to be an issue here. I'll have a look at that. As I say, I might need to just take a slightly earlier bus back to the airport later on to make sure I get there in plenty of time, although it did seem to be quite a small airport, fairly compact. I can't imagine, if it's anything like the arrival procedures, that the departure is going to take any time at all. Skanderbeg Square. That's the first place of real interest I've come across. Just walked through some fairly run-of-the-mill streets with all the usual kind of stuff in it, and come across this massive square. Over the other side there is a mosque. I just read the name of it, but I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to bother. But it's very big. Considering it's the middle of February, it is a very nice warm day, I have to say. You can hear some kind of music playing over the other side. I'm just going to head over there and have a little look, see what that is. But from this distance, and I'm sure it's not this, but it sounds like the sort of music you would hear a snake charmer playing. I love tea, Tirana. Investigate what that building is in a moment. That looks interesting. It's the Tirana International Hotel and the opera. Just saw an exchange rate for those that are interested for the local lek. It seems to be, if you look at the near perfect rates on things like Chase and those sort, you'll get just over 100 lek to the pound. So 100 lek's more or less a euro. In the hotel back there that I just popped into, they were offering 95. I believe you can, generally speaking, spend euros at shops, and they will probably not give you a particularly good exchange rate. This is how I understand it, so I'm probably going to try and use a cash point with my Chase card and see what exchange rate I get there. Failing that, I've got some euros. Always have euros or dollars or both. And it's not a snake charmer, it's just some buskers here in the square. I have to say the outskirts of Tirana while driving through them on the bus did look somewhat rough and ready in parts. Not untypical of many cities around the world. I'm not singling Tirana out for special treatment. Anyway, I'm going to I've just had a look on Google Maps and I've kind of got my bearings a little bit. I'm going to head towards Tirana Castle. That sounds interesting. One thing I have noticed, and I knew Albania in general was a very mountainous country, very beautiful out of the cities, and certainly the mountains over there, I'm not sure how well they're coming out on the camera, reasonably well I think, but they do loom over the city, and I noticed this while flying in. Makes for a very picturesque view as you come into land at Tirana. And certainly it's nice to see these mountains. So I'm going to have a little walk around, see if I can get a better view. I'm certainly not going to have enough time today to get out of the city. That might be a little bit too risky. Just going to have a little look and see what this is here. Well, that was the mosque. I shan't be going in there. Probably best visited by Muslims. I don't think necessarily you had to be a Muslim to go in there, but just out of respect and in case. I'm certainly no Muslim, so I'll not go in there. I'm going to head off towards the castle and towards what appears to be the old town on Google Maps and see what we can find there. Not a comprehensive study of the situation. I've not enough time to be doing stuff like that, but I would say if you pick your exchange place carefully, then using euros cash would be your best bet for changing money here. The little counters that are dotted all around probably are not going to give you a particularly good exchange rate. Actual banks for cash, or indeed the hotel rate of 95 probably is going to be your best bet. The machines, it would appear, charge you quite a commission, so unless somebody knows the ones to avoid or the ones to make a beeline for when you're using a debit card, then let us know, please. Anyway, onwards. Got a few lek now, so I'll be able to get something to eat and something to drink later on. Fish and chips, Tirana. Might have to give that due consideration later on. Not quite ready to eat yet. Sandwich calamar, which I guess is squid. Might have to ask a few questions. 300, so that's £3. Mixed sandwich, 500. And fried calamari, potato, guessing that's chips. Yeah, might have to get the translator out for some of that. But calamari sandwich sounds nice. just passing through a shopping mall, which is, well, you know, like all the other shopping malls around the world, with two little differences. Not quite sure why there was a sign on the door saying no photography. It's a shopping mall. That's it. End of. It's quite a big one, and it's got all the usual sorts of stores in it. Shan't dwell in here for too long, other than to go to the supermarket downstairs and maybe pick up a drink. This is certainly the tourist centre of Tirana. All the stuff you might expect. Shopping mall that I was just in, lots of eateries here, bars, cafes, all the kind of stuff you'd expect. And this quite interesting water fountain, actually. That's more like a gigantic, what would we call it? Jungle shower? I don't know. What do they call them, those that let out a lot of water? Sadly, like many cities, Tirana being no exception, there is a bit of a litter problem here. I do wish this could be something that could be sorted out. I mean, it's not really rocket science, is it? Tidying up after yourself and authorities providing somewhere for you to put said rubbish. A lot of other countries manage to do it, but in Europe it seems to be a particular problem. Incidentally, the castle isn't, there's an Ottoman wall left apparently, which I walked past earlier on. The actual castle itself doesn't really exist anymore, but it is on the map as the Tirana castle. But it's quite a nice area around that part. Right, so found our way to Tirana Park. I presume that's how you pronounce it. Sort of a medium-sized kind of green space here in the middle of the city. And at one end of it, namely the opposite end to where I am now, is some kind of waterway. It looks a bit like a canal or something rather than a river. It looks too straight for that, so I shall go and have a little look down there in a moment. Okay, something else just jumped out at me from the map, which was the Pyramid of Tirana. I can't pass up the opportunity of going to see that, so I'm just heading up this road here. It looks okay on the photographs that Google provided. What the reality will be is anyone's guess. Let's have a little look. Well, I can just see it through the trees over there, and people appear to be using it as a great place to exercise, jogging up and down the steps. Just found my way into another park here as well, which is quite pleasant. and yeah, I think I'll walk up to the top of that. I'm sure there must be some nice views from the top of that. I went to just walk past a very interesting looking ice cream stall. The ice creams looked absolutely fabulous, as did the slices of pizza, donuts and cakes and all sorts of other naughty stuff that they had on offer. It also had a massive queue, so clearly a place to go to. I shall wait until the queues died down a little bit. But this appears to be the pyramid of Tirana. So I'm going to head up the steps to the top of it and see what sort of view we get. No idea what's inside it. In fact, may well have a little look inside first, just to see, and then go up to the top of the outside of it. Certainly plenty of people have made the effort to go up there anyway. Well, you certainly get a nice view of the city from up here. Inside it there seems to be quite a few what are probably going to be retail outlets. It seems very new, actually. Everything about it is new. None of these buildings here that you can see have got anything in them as such. But I suspect that they will do at some point, some kind of retail outlet. And a very strange looking little platform there, the yellow boxed building that's on its side still seems to be being painted. Interesting, very interesting. But yeah, I'd like to come back in a couple of years and see what actually is here. At the moment, there is just some lone guy entrepreneurially selling flags and fridge magnets and that kind of stuff up the top. I dare say he's not supposed to be there as such, but there you go. Right, where next? In this very interesting city. Okay, off to somewhere that looks very pleasant indeed. Tirana Park. It's about a 30-minute walk from here, so I should be able to get there and have plenty of time to have a nice look around before I head back into the city. Slow amble back in, heading towards the kind of time I need to head back to the airport, believe it or not. Time just flies when you're enjoying yourself. The pizza stall, I can see it just over there, it's still got a very long queue. That did smell nice when I walked past it, and the prices look fairly good as well. So obviously very popular with the locals. I'm hoping I'll come across something similar in this general direction towards the park. So haven't got time to stand in queues all day long. But once you're out the actual centre of Tirana itself, the very, very centre, things quieten down a bit. The traffic in the actual centre is absolutely chaotic at points. As I alluded to earlier on with regards to getting here by the bus. Hopefully it will have quietened down a bit by the time I head back, but we shall see. I shall allow plenty of time anyway. Quite a nice boulevard here. The park is actually a lot closer than I thought. That's the University of Albania or Tirana. Can't remember exactly what it said. And the park is just the other side of it, so you kind of have to walk round to the left here a little way, and I picked a spot in the centre of the park, which told me it was going to be about a 30-minute walk approximately, but to the edge of the park's a lot nearer than that, so I should be there fairly soon, and I shall spend some time having a little look around. I do like the look of those mountains. Everywhere you look, they're just looming above the city, which really nice. The park has got cycle tracks and defined walkways made from concrete and tarmac, and some slightly off-piste walking, so to speak, through the woods here. And yeah, I can just about hear the city whirring away in the background quietly, but it's hard to believe it's so close to the centre of a capital city. Shame people have come down here and decided to leave litter, but hey ho, that seems to be the path of the course everywhere you go these days. Very sad, but true. Not really quite sure where I'm going at the moment. It's quite muddy down here actually, even though it's dry. Doesn't look like it's rained much for a while everywhere else. I'm just going to follow this path now, see where it brings me back out. And there should be a lake at some point. I don't know if I'm heading towards it now. I've kind of lost my bearings really, but I'm sure I'll find my way out eventually. I found my way back out here from the woods. I'm guessing this is the way to go. There's a bar up here anyway. A lot of these drainage ditches next to all the paths along here remind me of the levadas in Madeira. If you've been to Madeira, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you've walked out of Funchal anyway and up into the hills, and the lovely levada walks you can go on. It's just taking the water down to the lake, which is exactly where I'm heading at the moment. I'll follow the water. Well, it's a very nice looking lake. Just looking at the name of it, it rather implies it's an artificial lake rather than a natural lake. Just picking up on the words that are there. So well done them for making a nice lake, albeit artificial. It is a nice space, this actually, that's been created. Again, a lot of it seems fairly new and recently developed. This was probably just a woods at one time, but certainly that lake over there, artificial or not, is very picturesque. And I'm going to be completing the circle around the park now, heading back towards the city centre along the side of it. To put all of this into context, this is a Tuesday in the middle of February, so a lot of the people that seem to have appeared now, I would say, are mostly students. It's getting towards the end of a school day really, so that's probably why. But it is fairly quiet around this park. I imagine at weekends, and particularly in the summertime, it gets very busy indeed. I'm just going to get a slightly better view of the lake from here before I head back towards the city. I say, it's got a very nice vibe down here by the water, and as I say, despite the fact it's middle of February and a Tuesday, there's a few appeared down here having a nice coffee or a beer, and the weather's certainly suitable for sitting outside, that is for sure. It's quite amusing actually. I mean, I haven't actually gone as far as putting my shorts on, although I certainly could do. It's warm enough. It's just a case of where I do it. Don't want to frighten any locals. And but the actual locals here are walking around with big coats, scarves and everything else, and it's nearly 20 Celsius, so it just goes to show how warm it does get in the summertime. They probably think I'm slightly crazy walking around with just a t-shirt on. Ho hum, they should come and live in the cold February weather in England, and then they would understand, I think. But yeah, it's certainly a beautiful day here, and I think if you sat down by that cafe for a few hours at this time of day, you would certainly get a nice little suntan. Nice park, very nice. Certainly the nicest part of Tirana that I've come across. Well, there we go. That's a fantastic park, great for a good cycle around or walk around, fairly quiet parts. The place to be when you want to sit down and have a drink is most definitely the waterfront by the lake. A lot of people down there. Certainly the weather for it though, I can start to feel the coolness of the evening starting to kick in. It's not really, you know, it is the middle of winter still, so those few hours of nice warm sunshine during the middle of the day are most welcome, but it does still get fairly cold at night here. So I'm going to head back into the city now, just leaving the park, and grab something to eat before I head back to the airport. Well, that's probably one of the nicest kebab meals I've had for a long time. Kebab meat with some nice warm bread, tzatziki, and lots of fresh vegetables. That was really nice, really good value as well, so enjoyed that. And I'm going to head back to the bus station now. I think I've seen as much as I could possibly see in one day here in Tirana. If I spot anything else in the last few hundred yards back towards the bus station, I shall add it on to the end of this. But failing that, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this very brief, very quick look around this capital city here in southern Europe. I've got plenty more on the channel. If you liked it, please tick the like button. Press subscribe if you want to see some more, and the apparently the yellow bell, if you click on that, it will let you know when new videos come out. So once again, thanks for watching. I'll catch you all again very soon.